So bad, but it was a great set nevertheless, and I'm sure Monte will be giving us a great set here as well. Here we go. I mean, you're talking about a bad matchup. Tell the viewers why.
So what Peach ends up liking to do is utilize a very low float to feint aerial moves as ground moves and apply a lot of pressure on top of utilizing turnips at mid-screen to not only has an out-of-shield option, but also as a projectile that she can have a lot of utility with. Game & Watch shuts all of that down instantaneously. His buttons are not only combo tools, but disjointed. He has the best get-out-of-jail-free card in the game with that up B out-of-shield, and can do oodles and oodles of damage at a drop of a hat, particularly against floatier characters. This requires Peach to play with an extreme amount of patience and an even higher amount of dexterity to get by and stay safe from a lot of Game & Watch's combos. But you know what? Muteace has done it before, and they are certainly willing to do it again should the moment call for it. Not to count out Monte, but just to showcase that this may be a bad matchup on paper, but in practice, Muteace has defied the odds.
Absolutely. Still, though, Monte trying to figure out a way to get this first stock. Calling out the jumps, I think, is what Game & Watch does so extremely well with a lot of these aerials, and that's what Peach loves to do, right?
Yes.
Kind of trip you up, but there it is. Calling out that float with the forward air is going to be Monte starting us off in terms of the stock lead. And now this is kind of the problem for Princess Peach, right? She gets kind of thrown around, and as you were alluding to, it's a little bit of a tough matchup here. But if it's one thing that Mute can do, it's just find an explosive stock basically out of nothing, right? But still trying to line up a turnip or an aerial here. But all Monte is waiting to do is to shield and then to up special out of it. And now Mute is stuck trying to find that opening again.
I want to also really highlight some of their bracket runs as well. Muteace having a little bit of a rough one, going 3-2 with Lettuce Boy in pools in phase 1, 3-1 against Bobo, 3-2 against Yoda Cage. Like, they've been put to the ringer here through their bracket. Meanwhile, Monte has yet to drop a game in this bracket, even 3-0ing SkyJ in order to get their match against Muteace. So Monte, he is playing on fire here throughout this day number 2 of Collision 2024, and they're keeping the train up. 100% lead just as Muteace takes that stock. It can be a little bit trouble for Game & Watch in order to find a stray killing aerial, but as long as they're able to control the game, you don't have to worry about finding a stray hit to close out a stock. You can just play the long game and take your stocks as they come. Yeah,
absolutely. Still, the Rage Peach, something very scary, especially when your character's a little bit lighter, right? So once more, Muteace struggling to find a way down. Beautiful parry, though, from Monte. And now Monte essentially can go for the KO here. Maybe a hard read with up smash, but no, instead, once more, catching Muteace, landing with that forward air. It's such a tough spot to be in, Ubel. And like you alluded to, while Muteace can find it, like we're able to find this opening here, it's got to lead to the stock every single time. Otherwise, Monte's just going to go back to business.
Yeah, finding their way onto the floor. Some pop-offs happening in the melee side, but we're just seeing a Game & Watch downer get stuffing out yet another up air attempt from Muteace. Playing slow and steady is Monte, just firmly within their own gameplay. Lots of poking, lots of prodding. I like that Muteace still isn't rushing anything, though. Trying to get a little bit too antsy into Game & Watch is going to only lead you to lose games faster.
Yeah. So though, going to be able to slide right through and float through with that forward air here. Explosive forward air coming out from Mute. And I love the way that Monte got Mute one time with the reflect on the turnip, and then the second time Mute caught that, right?
Yeah.
It's that top player adaptation here. But once more, this is a big order, especially when you side special right into the hammers here. Monte trying to line up to get something, and it will be that aerial that takes game 1 in a JV2 stock.
That's nice reaction from Monte as well. I think Muteace was trying to go for the classic no mix-up, another side B to stage when Monte might have thought that Muteace go for the typically safer route and recover low, but no dice here. Monte playing that offense very well and playing that entire game super close to the chest. Gave very little windows for Muteace to find any big punishes, those stocks and combos out of nowhere, as you were mentioning, Lyric. And man, was that a that kind of, again, just perfectly played on paper.
Game number 2 heading on over to Town and City here. So we're going for bigger, right? We are going for bigger open spaces. And like how Mute likes the big stages where when these platforms go away, it is all just combo time, right? And speaking of combo time, we almost had it all the way through. Mute, though, going to punish the down air and find a grab of his own and into a back air as well, trying to bait out an option, getting up from the ledge here. And once again, we're just swinging for the fences at this point. Monte just going to keep using the up special to get away, but now look at Mute. Mute having a massive lead, especially on Game & Watch on this stage. If we're able to find a float forward air, it could be stock over already for Monte.
Yeah, and one of these backers in the corner as well could do it. A Winky Face was pulled, threatening to block with it, but there's that forward air. What did you say, Lyric? And, you know, Muteace delivered.
It's like I cast this game or something. I know what to look for. Casters when they're right. Anyway,
yes.
Going back into neutral here. And like I said, big open space for Muteace to really get these juggles going on. And Muteace's movement is so scary to me. But speaking of scary, Monte finding an opening with the double nair here. And now Monte, and essentially, as long as we're able to predict where Mute is going to land, we have a follow-up for it, right? Game & Watch is one of those annoying characters where it's so hard to really get a hit in because he never really lets you get down correctly.
Hits typically matter a lot against Game & Watch due to him being paper thin, but you know, it is there's one thing about making a hit matter if you just aren't able to deal any damage. As 8%, a near perfect stock there on the follow-up from Monte after such a huge opening from Muteace, an opening that he only got thanks to a missed input from Monte with a very estranged taunt. So gonna have to be big from Muteace, and they turned it into something that was such a clean combo, instantaneously dealing a 61% to bring us to the magic number.
And honestly, this is why we're on Town and City, right? We were talking about this a little bit earlier. High ceiling, so a lot of these Game & Watch up airs aren't going to really be too dangerous for Mute here. You're trying to get something started. There's the down tilt, looking for the forward air, unable to find anything. Plucks the turn up, but I love the patience from Monte here. Monte looking for the forward air, unable to find anything, so Mute going to be able to get the reversal. Beautiful shield, finds the turn up toss, but Monte actually going to roll all the way out to the right, forcing Mute to find this option once more. And now it's all Monte. How do you bait Mute to approach like this?
It's so much feinting and I mean, you bait and bait and bait for so long with these float cancel mix-ups and different air dodges and mid-screen play. And finally, the bash with that rising back air, giving Mute another lead. Monte close to answering. Wow, you are playing with fire there, Muteace, grazing the tip of Game & Watch up smash. Still no damage applied though. Monte never one to be beside himself and get a little bit antsy. Though you might have to start pushing the envelope a little bit if you're going to try and get past Muteace's defense.
I just want to say, speaking of pushing the envelope, this is the first time we've really kind of seen Mute, at least for the last 10 seconds, keep Monte in the corner like that, right? Like, it was like, all right, I have it, but there's that up smash connecting here. Last stock here, Mute looking a lot more confident, but Monte just waiting for the proper time to strike here, trying to land with these forward airs, unable to find anything. Mistiming on the bucket here will allow for a turn up to connect and allow for Mute to actually regain stage control, at least for the moment here. Trying to find something to get it started here, but once more, a great set full of great spacing. But thanks to Town and City, these up airs are really not going to do as much as Monte really wants. Mute has tons of room to escape and reestablish.
Yeah, these platforms are doing so much, forcing Game & Watch to commit to multiple jumps, looking for something big though with the double back air. But that, again, that high platform I just mentioned, allowing Muteace to get out of danger. They're still in a really fierce juggle situation to the tune of 72% as well. But as long as you're not dropping that stock, you have so much opportunity because typically Game & Watch's stock ending percentages are kind of hitting about now.
Yeah. Very patient play from both players. I love just the way that Monte just lets the up smash rip right when the turn up coming down here. Great spacing, of course. It's such a careful, meticulous neutral right now from both players. Mute unable to really land confident right now, but Monte just going to take the turn up and throw it back. There's the dash attack though. Mute once more has been kind of stuck in the sky at this point. 113, 114, 115. Can Mute get down? With a couple hits of the down air can, but we need much more of a decisive move to get things started. Monte gonna give Mute the chair, saying, you know what, I'm still in this, and now I'm up 2-0.
And going up 2-0 it's a big one. Typically, if you lose a tight game like that as the underdog, things can start slipping really, really quickly. However, you know, that was, again, Monte not getting over-eager, not losing himself to Mute, finding an early lead or some early misinputs, that led him astray. Instead, it is pure and simple Monte playing things by the book. Never getting a little overeager, always playing as safe as possible. The damage comes because Peach has to engage with you in ranges that are in your wheelhouse. But we're not switching from the Princesses of Toadstools. We're going right back to Town and City. We're shaking the head and getting back in, down 2-0. Footstool turnip converting into 63. That's how you start a game.
This is what I meant by, I love when Muteace gets a combo, right? You really feel it, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, a couple hits already has taken Monte to 91%. We are not even 30 seconds in, right?
Nope.
Just the way Muteace say, you know what, you've had your fun, I figured it out, let me just get things started here. Monte, though, able to get back onto stage, and now able to get a couple of aerials out, too. Regaining stage control is a big thing in this matchup. But now Monte, I love the dash out, dash in. We were talking about this a little bit earlier, playing within your range here, and now the same amount of frustration that Mute gave to Monte, Monte's giving right back to Mute, but Mute able to get a reversal with the back air here, trying to line up for stock, but good on Monte's standard get up, hold the shield, knowing that Peach is going to be right there on it.
Yeah, it's just the timing that Mute is trying to hit that one frame of vulnerability that can be so awkward thanks to Game & Watch's lack of animation sometimes on his getup. Either way, though, Mute does take the first stock, trying to put something together. Finds the up air extension as well. Looking pretty good here to the tune of 44% here, Lyric. But you always got to know and wonder, like, when is Monte going to try and get a little bit aggressive if he falls so far behind? Especially if Mute is able to really make a statement in this game, or if he's just going to not and keep his composure the entire time.
I think Monte is kind of trying to get aggressive at least. He's still trying to kind of keep that, like, I'm trying to predict where you land and punish you for it type of gameplay, but it just seems like Mute is now like boots on ground, right? We're not kind of like going for these large float combos. Instead, we're just trying to call out aerials and then just kind of back up and go for it again, like right there, right? But now Mute, who has this 3-1 lead, is looking for something here, but instead it will be Monte getting the ground into the up smash, and now, honestly, the tables have really turned.
Yeah, and this is a game that Mute really, really needed. I mean, he needs to close out strong, but after a tight game and getting 2-stocked in game 1, you really need some affirmation that you know the matchup and you're feeling good again. We all know that Mute can take a little bit of time to get his hands warm. Let's see if any of that comes into play going into the latter half of this game number 3, but it looks like Mute is really starting to wrap his head around all of what Monte's doing, even reading that air dodge as well. Holding super firm, looking for a Z-drop into the forward air. No dice, though, but Monte still behind the 8 ball, still on ledge.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of going coast to coast, right?
Yeah.
We're starting to get kind of to those percentages where you get launched, but you're not exactly, losing your stock just yet. So here we go. Here comes Mute, 132 onto Monte here. A loose aerial will definitely do it here. So Monte has to play within that range where it's not actually going to KO and it's not going to be too tough right now, but it's so close. The spacing is so meticulous for both players. Mute try to get this wraparound, will be able to get the grab, the back throw, not going to be enough just yet. Going for the hard read on the F smash, but once more, Game & Watch, these up specials out of shield are so annoying to deal with at times.
They are so good. At least at these percents, they don't lead to anything. It is just a pure and simple reset to neutral. And hey, like, if you're Monte, you'll play enough of that as you can. You'll accrue as much information as possible. Game & Watch has a lot of X factor to him, gets the grab into the forward throw, looking for maybe an up air or any sort of back air, but we're passing straight through the platform as Muteace finding that forward air at 150, closing out the stock. Man, oh man, did Muteace take only and exactly what he was given time and time again. No more, no less.
That was the first time we really saw Mute do the full float down and then go absolutely, like, for the forward air, right? Like, look at this, like the full float, and then just land instant drop forward air coming out from Mute here. Definitely a little bit more comfortable, right? So we're going to slow it back down, just instant, right? And Monte just took it.
He just accepted it.
He's like, all right, yeah, you got it.
It's fine.
All right, Mute absolutely still in this, not going to go down 3-0. And now Monte is going to be taking Mute to small battlefields here. So now, like we were talking about where Town and City, the advantage is we have tons of space to combo, run, and hide. On small battlefields, we have that platform to escape to, but Mute doesn't really have kind of the luxury of pulling a turnip, running away, resetting, and doing the whole thing over. So we should be expecting a little bit more of an aggressive Monte.
Yeah, someone that just like takes over stage positions and like forces Mute to deal with that. But some good early damage here from Mute yet again. It's always so different, like almost completely two different matchups when you're playing against Game & Watch with a lead or when you're playing against Mr. Game & Watch at a deficit. And Mute looks to start each game off strong and ride that lead and what that represents for later parts of the game to the end of the game.
I think at this point, like I looked down for a brief moment to drink my water, and Monte is already at 125%.
It was kind of
my
nice.
Goodness, I feel like that's kind of the sign that Mute is like locked in, right? Like, all right, let me press my buttons, let me get that opening combo here. But we were talking about small battlefields, and now Monte has to be wary that Peach can also use these platforms to escape, right? So now Monte trying to shark, but Mute being very elusive with the movement, right? Not necessarily landing with an option every single time. Instead of prioritizing being a little bit more defensive and say, you know what, I don't have the opportunity just yet. Let me just back up.
I love how Mute is using these platforms, by the way, always feinting whether or not he will fast fall through them or it will land on top of them. And that has gotten Monte to relinquish his utilization of Game & Watch up smash. Game & Watch up smash of all moves, like a completely integral part of Game & Watch's kit and the threat that it provides as an anti-air. Monte is now hesitating just a little bit when pressing that button.
And that hesitation is what Muteace is 100% taking advantage of. Look at all this damage now coming onto Monte here, and Mute hasn't even breached 100% yet. Dash attack not punished just yet though, but here comes the Nair, and now Monte trying to line up, a Mute once more being a little bit trickier with the movement. That's kind of the advantage of playing Peach, right? You do have kind of the floats and jump around, but the one time that you go onto the platform, the one time Monte was ready for it, the one time he's going to punish it.
Yeah, having to force Mute to play at the same horizontal that he is and start to engage with him in ways that are favorable for Game & Watch with a down tilt to forward air. Looking pretty good here for Mute in order to take this stock first, assuming he doesn't find himself hit by Game & Watch Nair. Oh, another footstool. Footstool float cancel out of shield, but gets a sour hit of Nair. So tough. Able to make up for it with a back air, though, here, Lyric. Looking pretty good in terms of holding on to and steady within this lead, but it's always tough to make hits on Game & Watch, as you called out earlier.
I feel like Monte now is kind of going up into the sky a little bit more, carelessly at this point, right? We saw kind of Monte chasing down, but you have to realize that once you are in the air, Mute knows that is a sign for an aerial, right? We saw Mute actually hit that back air a little bit earlier. Now, granted, it didn't get the stock, right? But now it's kind of signaling to Monte, you have to stay on this stage. You can't go too far out. I'm ready to punish at any moment. But here we go. Speaking of punishing, it will be Mute recognizing the movement in, movement out. And now Mute has a little bit of a lead, but Monte's got to get something going now.
I wonder when the next layer of this offense comes into play for Mute or Monte. A lot of times, Mute has been very much focused on evasive spacing and finding single or two-hit combos to make up for the damage as we see another turnip into dash attack. The evolution of this will be to start grabbing, but hey, he might not need to if he's able to close out stocks this quickly. Another follow-up with that forward air doesn't close out the stock, but we're threatening it, and there's the grab to threaten shield. So well played from Mute, so disciplined and just the perfect way to break down a player that was giving you problems.
Look at the way now that Monte's kind of frantic, pushing buttons right in front of Mute, and Mute is just, you know what, I know you're going to land into me with something, I might as well just grab you, right?
Yeah.
So now Monte trying to chase Mute, but Mute so patient off the side here and recognizing the drift, but there it is, the up special will just be taking Muteace out off the side. Granted, it is a last stock scenario here, the back air, or the back throw, excuse me, not going to be enough, but if I'm Monte, I have to figure out something I want to do to get these juggles back started, because we need to find a way back into this, because the next aerial, just like that, it's going to be stuck.
Yeah, perfectly timed as well, hitting exactly the frame of vulnerability that Game & Watch has available. But at 184, you're looking at just about anything to connect. A forward throw, a dash attack, maybe even an up throw at that percentage. Regardless, it was so well played, showing off that control that you can have over the stage, even on a smaller stage like a small battlefield. But we're going to regular Battlefield for our 5th and final game of this winner's quarter set. Winner gets to move on to winner side top 32 tomorrow. Muteace looking strong in the past 2, but Monte has all of the potential to make their way and find this upset. We'll have to see how it ends right here, right now.
Yeah, this is not a loser's bracket you want to be in at all.
No.
At no point. Now in pools, phase 2 pools, and not tomorrow especially. Battlefield, though, is going to be the pick. And I really like this stage for Monte, too, because I feel like what Monte does really well is coverage, right? Like, hey, I'm going to try and cover you here, here, and here. And honestly, if we're going to Battlefield, we have a general idea of where Mute likes to land. But Mute actually doing something very interesting and actually down to just hold center stage, saying, Monte, you know what? You can take a tour around these platforms. I'll just, figure out the time that you're going to go there, and I'm going to punish you for going there. There's the down air, the turnip, not going to lead into anything just yet. But look at Monte, man. I feel like every time he gets off the ledge, he's back on it, either on the same side, the other side. But look at Mute landing into Mute, and Mute just punishing. Yeah,
just so in control of his own movements right now. Playing so close to the ground, expert utilization of turnips, even ahead in the Yomi levels. Again, another grab on Game & Watch. Monte wants to find these conversions, starting with an up B out of shield, and Muteace is just not giving it to him. Such fair play, such fine play as the head shake comes out from Monte and the pop-off from the crowd.
There was a very, very definitive, oh my god, that just came out of the crowd. And now I'm practically saying it myself as now Mute on absolute fire here, and what will be a 3-0 comeback if he's able to do this. And look at Monte just kind of taking all this damage, has to reestablish some sort of neutral here, gets the nair but unable to find much else, finds the up special out of shield here to at least alleviate some of this pressure, finds a nair, but look at Mute once more. You're giving Peach the chance to kind of mess around with the movement, wait for Mute to be comfortable out of the scramble, and then to approach when he feels like it.
Yeah, just purely and proficiently in control, and it's that type of stuff that makes Mute the problem solver that he is. And Monte is looking a little bit calculated at the moment.
Absolutely. Still, though, reading with the back air here. I mean, Mute looking so strong right now. The crowd is crazy right now. I wish you guys could hear. There's the back air, though. And now Muteace looking so poised to find a loose aerial to get a stock here. But Monte at 131 will be able to loop through the forward air and get the stock off. It's even stock right now, but here we go. Here comes the nair. And these juggles that we were asking for a little bit earlier are finally starting to come out.
Yeah, instant 50% off of a grab at 0. But it just seemed like Monte's defiance of and reliance on defense and responses. Oh, well, that'll answer quite a big question that Muteace has time and time again. Monte seems to be shielding for up B out of shield a lot. Well, it's a good thing Mr. Saturn's there to solve that problem.
Please do. Please
do.
Please,
that's crazy.
Listen, man, I'm here for the hype, right? Monte, though, having Mute on the ledge right now, still. I love Peach, man. Bring back the beam sword, bro.
Bring it back.
Still, though, Monte now going to be stuck on the ledge here. Mute. I love this foxtrot that he does back and forth, right? It's so scary here. Monte, though, trying to line up for something, and it was the battle between the up smash and the forward air. Will be Mute coming out on top.
Yeah, just a couple frames late, and that's what Peach Float can do for every character that or any character that it gives, technically thanks to item play, but for Peach especially, able to utilize and react to anti-airs and punish them accordingly by just floating right out of range.
Okay, here we go. It's more Mute gonna board the platforms and then try to regain center here. It's Monte who has to play so careful. If he's able to get a hard call out with an up smash forward air, or a, hey, look, the forward air, we are able to even this back up, and now here we go. It's last stock. You were talking about that 50% here. I mean, it's so easy for Monte. You can back Mute this 50%. Mute has to be so careful, though. Great air dodge out by Monte, and here comes Mute trying to push the aggressive.
Yeah, we're getting to a really tight end game here. Monte making some critical adjustments in order to find his offense. Still behind the 8-ball when it comes to damage, but being on final stock and the damage that we know Monte can put out with just one nair, just one throw, can convert into so much. This is instantly above 50, almost to the 60% mark thanks to reaching the top blast zone. Lyric Oh, this is okay.
This is scary.
This is extremely scary.
Oh my
Going
God!
low.
I was about to say going low. I actually think was the worst idea you could have gone for here. Monte now giving up stage pressure, and it will be the back air coming out from Mute that allows for Muteace to get the reverse 3-0. It came all down to the fact that Monte dropped low. Our screens cut for a quick second. It came to the fact that Monte dropped low. Can we actually get the replay of this? I'm gonna give the lyric analysis a shot here. It came to the fact that we're dropping low, right? Like, we dropped all the way low, and then that allowed for Mute to get back set up here and then just punish accordingly.
Yeah, I think the moment that you're looking for.
Yeah, that right there.
Oh, it was a little bit before this moment. The replay did not catch it, but I know exactly what you're talking about. Like, the fact that Monte felt desperate enough to commit to the edge guard put him in this situation where he got grabbed and thus converted instantly. I wonder how close was this bomb to igniting? Because we are framed. Yeah. The bomb is exploding, and Peach just powering straight through it. That is. Can we get the second stock real quick, or the second stock that Muteace lost really quick? Because that type of trade is exactly where he lost. Yeah, we get to see it. Muteace playing correctly, swinging, but just barely missing the bomb off the forward. If this was a neutral air instead, it connects the bomb and Muteace keeps this stock. But because the forward air hitbox is part of the crown, which comes down this way, it hits Muteace, but the bomb itself is inside the hitbox and destroyed. Two very clear moments where Muteace and Monte dropping a forward air can be both positive and detrimental because it's on its own timer and subject to its own hitbox. That time, Muteace coming out on the sour end of things as he loses the stock, bringing us to a very even end game, as you saw, Lyric. But in the final stock, was able to evade it in just the nick of time and find a back air at what was a very, very close finish.
That was so close. I wish I could do that, man. You explain things so well, man. Oh my God. We got a banger. Oh my God. I don't know if you guys see behind us, man.
That's a banger.
That's a banger. Here we go.
Ooh.
This could be the biggest upset I've seen all day.
Cosmos is playing really well.